Let's quickly talk about H&R Block versus TaxAct. And those are the two behemoths when it comes to tax preparation. And to this conversation, we want to compare and contrast and see which one is the best. So here's an overview I want you to pay attention to. I first want to talk about the features when we analyze H&R Block versus TaxAct. So in terms of features, it's really important to understand that the right online tax software for your business depends, or your individual tax return, by the way, depends on the features you need, really. So to narrow down what features you need, think about your general knowledge of doing your taxes. Is this your first time doing taxes for yourself or for your business? Or are you a seasoned expert? So if you are basically looking for features, you want to pay attention to ease of use when it comes to navigation, for instance, and also the user interface, really important. You want to have easy access to tax forms. This is really critical also. You want to have the ability to file both your state and federal taxes from the same software. You want to have an accuracy guarantee. You want to have security. And those features are nowadays very important. So it's one of those things where you got to really see your situation and your position in when it comes to filing taxes. And do you want to do a DIY all the way through, or you want to have you want to do something in between, or you just want to have help from the get-go? And if you are well versed in doing your personal or business taxes, you're most likely looking for a seamless experience with a quick return. And so a few features to keep on your radar, in addition to the ones that I mentioned earlier, include the ability to upload W-2 directly into the program. You want to have the ability to import data from other finance software you might have used in the past. Okay, like Mint. I mean, Mint is kind of gone right now, but you have Cash App taxes. I mean, Cash App Finance, for instance. You want to have also advanced filing options within your tax preparation software. This helps also, especially if you have a somewhat convoluted tax return, and you want to have also a quick return summary. Okay. Now, H&R Block and TaxAct have an easy to use interface, or mobile friendly, and offer e-filing options, making for an organized process. And H&R Block provides an accuracy review, which is helpful for first-timers. And when it comes to TaxAct, they provide a variety of helpful resources, including access to tax deductions and credits. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation. So in terms of features, H&R Block is slightly ahead of TaxAct. What about pricing? So the thing is that if you are working on how to manage your money and paying the lowest price really is important to you, you want to consider H&R Block or TaxAct. And the cool thing is that both programs are less expensive than, say, TurboTax. That's for sure. Way, 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 way cheaper. Okay, so H&R Block, in our view, is an especially good deal if you have a simple return, but you want to claim the student loan interest deduction, as it is the only program that enables you to e-file for free while scoring this tax savings. If you have multiple state tax returns to file, H&R Block would also save you money because its state returns are a few dollars less than TaxAct. And now, how much does it really cost to file taxes with H&R Block? Well, it really depends. The cost of filing taxes with H&R Block varies by program. So H&R Block really, as I did on this show, they offer a free tax program if you have a simple income tax return. But if you have a more complex tax situation, you'll pay between $25 to $75, with self-employed taxpayers paying the most. And H&R Block also charges about $30 to $50 per state return file. So this is something to really think about. And one thing I want to say here is that when we talk about TaxAct, you got to think about the fact that TaxAct is a little more expensive. I think I've said this before, but it is true that TaxAct offers the most support for your buck, that's for sure. Starting with email support for the free edition, you can upgrade just one more tier and you get access to their answer center. The thing is that TaxAct, they charge you based on your filing status. And it's one of those things where you have to really ask yourself, do you really need it? Okay. But if you do need it, you will appreciate the extra charge and also the extra service anyway. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about H&R Block versus TaxAct. Let's talk about ease of use. So both programs are easy to use as they all allow you to take pictures of W-2s and each help you identify deductions and credits by asking you questions about your life. But TaxAct is especially well known for providing the most intuitive and user-friendly interface for tax filers. What about available customer support? H&R Block and TaxAct, they both provide chat support and assistance via phone. You can even share your screen to get help. TaxAct provides this option for free to Premier Plus program users. And H&R Block also has in-person tax centers where you can get assistance. However, not all H&R Block tax experts are CPAs or enrolled agents and or even tax attorneys for that matter. H&R Block does indicate that it provides ample training to tax professionals. So in terms of the support you get, you actually are a little better off with H&R Block because TaxAct doesn't have, even though H&R Block doesn't have all the CPAs on his staff, TaxAct really doesn't have that many either, and they even have fewer. What about customer reviews here? So basically, one thing I want to say here is that when we think about overall, all those two programs, they receive mixed customer reviews, though what we have seen in our research is that TurboTax seems to receive the best ratings. And so some common complaints about TaxAct include software connection issues and price increases, yet many consumers had positive notes about its ease of use. And H&R Block users reported that they were able to fill more forms with cheaper programs using this software than what let's say TaxAct or TurboTax was offering. So bottom line here is that they both have mixed reviews. It's one of those things where you have to understand that overall, if you were to go with TaxAct, you are going to pay for more. You are going to pay for you're going to have to pay a lot more than you would be if you went with H&R Block. But at least you're getting a great UX, great user experience, great user interface. This is really fantastic. H&R Block is great for customer service and also the what we call accessibility, because you have the brick and mortar sort of branches too. So this is kind of cool. Let's talk about I want to give you a review here so we're clear about what we're talking about. I want to talk about the pros and cons. I want to give you the advantages and the disadvantages of each of these two programs. So first, let's start with TaxAct. So TaxAct, in terms of pros, you have the strongest refund guarantee that we have seen in our research. And you have a price that is reasonable, even though it might be slightly higher than what the competitors are charging. What about the cons here? Well, the user interface has fewer bells and whistles, and you have the free federal and state e-file is limited. What about H&R Block? I want to first talk about the pros. So the pros, you can actually claim the student loan deduction with a free version, and state filing fees are the cheapest of any program that we have examined in the last 2 to 3 years. What about the cons? Well, H&R Block is not the cheapest program out there when it comes to federal filing. So basically, if for any reason you don't like H&R Block or TaxAct, you can also go for TurboTax. And so when we talk about TurboTax, the pros are that you have an extremely user-friendly interface, and there is a robust online community that answers questions. So if you really value this ability to get answers directly from the crowd, then go with TurboTax. And what about the cons here? Prices are higher than the other programs that we have seen, and the maximum refund guarantee is limited. So this is something to really think about. And the free federal and state e-file is also limited. So you're not really getting the result that you should be expecting anyway. But hey, listen, at the end of the day, if you have good quality software and that the software can actually do the job, then not a problem. Just go ahead and go with the software. One thing I want to say is that in terms of pros and cons, just understand that those things are changing. And basically, maybe this year you had a few drawbacks, and next year those drawbacks are fixed. So those software providers are constantly sort of they're constantly improving their software programs. So you got to be in a situation where you can avail yourself of the recent improvements. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about the H&R Block versus TaxAct. Let me talk to you about more options here. So basically, when we talk about H&R Block and TaxAct, they're not the only players in the market. You have Liberty Tax, you have TaxSlayer, you have Jackson Hewitt. And so when we talk about Liberty Tax, for instance, you have a software provider that actually offers 4 online tax software editions at a reasonable price. You have a simple interface. I mean, that can be improved though. And you also have retail office locations that offer tax refund advanced loans. It's one of those things where you have to be in a situation where you qualify though for the advanced loans. What about the TaxSlayer? Well, you have a system that actually supports IRS forms and schedules. It is affordable in our view. When you compare and contrast TaxSlayer to a TaxAct, is more affordable, and you have a simple navigation. So this is something to really think about. And what about Jackson Hewitt? This is the third player that we have into this conversation. So with Jackson Hewitt, you have to understand that this player has been around forever. They are really, really great. They really have been they've been doing this for a long time, and it's one of those things where you have a provider that has an easy to use interface and navigation. You have good support options, including email and chat. And then you have retail office locations. So bottom line here is that you have the ability to actually, you can get exactly what you want, because there are a lot of players in the market. And one thing I want to say here is that it's always about what you're looking for, because at the end of the day, TaxAct is not really flashy, but flashy is not necessarily what you want or need from your online tax prep software. An appealing feature for many taxpayers looking to switch providers is that TaxAct lets you upload your prior year's tax return from competitors. So TaxAct's 4 basic options mirror TurboTax or even H&R Blocks. So you have a free version for simple filers, a deluxe option that covers homeowners and people with student loans or childcare expenses. You have a premier offering that also covers investments, and finally, you have a simple self-employed version. So bottom line here is you have a lot of flexibility. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic here. We're talking about H&R Block versus TaxAct. So bottom line here is that, what is the best online tax service to use? I mean, basically, should you go with H&R Block or TaxAct? It really depends. Okay, you got to really understand that those are really, it really depends on the situation. Depends on what kind of expectations you have in the first place, and how quote unquote complicated your tax return is. Because the bottom line here is that you're getting, you are getting the kind of service that you should be expecting anyway. So the bottom line here is, when you think about H&R Block, please think about a great option if you are an established small business owner, or you're just an individual looking for a seamless tax filing experience. So this software delivers an intuitive interface and a variety of features for a moderate price. So that's for H&R Block. But what about TaxAct? Well, in our view, this is actually the best and most cost-efficient choice for professionals who know how to do their taxes. So this is kind of cool. And it's one of those things where you are constantly trying to look for the best solution for your situation. For example, when we talk about H&R Block, I want you to think about easy prep, print, and e-file with 100% accurate calculations. You have automatic W-2 importing, self-employment, and small business income and expense reporting. When we talk about TaxAct, for instance, you have free federal e-file, data security accuracy. You have review. You have free W-2 importing, free storage for up to 6 years of tax returns. Think about that, 6 years. That's really cool. And so yeah, for instance, you can also import and data transfer. You have an import and data transfer options. So you have a lot of choices when it comes to managing your managing your tax returns or your tax return data year over year over year. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. I'm just, let me talk to you about the verdict here. So when we talk about H&R Block versus TaxAct, which one should you go for? Well, it really depends, because those two players, they offer a user-friendly interface. And it's one of those things where TaxAct generally has the fewer bells and whistles, and H&R Block does have like a better navigation system. And better navigation, like if you want to go through the Q&A. And each tax preparation software asks you basic questions about your life and finances to identify opportunities to save on your taxes. And so they all offer different tax filing software options depending on the complexity of your tax situation. Though, one thing I want to say is that basically, again, H&R Block tends to be a lot higher when it comes to pricing. Free file is available with each company as well, though H&R Block allows you to file more forms with its free options than its competitors. And each company stands behind its programs with features such as satisfaction guarantees. But TaxAct is only is actually the one company that goes beyond refunding your program price, and if another software options helps you score a larger refund. This is kind of cool. This is a great sign of humility to say, you know what, our tool is one of the best, but it may not be the best in some situations. So this is something to really be aware of. And one thing I want to say here is that when we talk about TaxAct versus H&R Block, in terms of pricing, for TaxAct you have free file, you have deluxe, premier, and self-employed. For H&R Block you have free file, deluxe, premium, and self-employed. So you do have options there. In terms of key features, for TaxAct you have you are able to offer real-time real-time refund. Yeah, so basically you can track how much your refund is, and TaxAct alerts reveal audit risk or missed chances to save. What about the H&R Block? Basically, you have the drag and drop that allows you to do this for last year's returns and import returns. And you basically can also have W-2 importing via photo. So you have the ability to get that done. So this is one of those things where you have to be comfortable with the level of the level of operational flexibility you need to really go through. But otherwise, it's totally possible you are able to get it done. By the way, if you have any question, let us know in the comment section, and one of our team members will get back to you with more explanation. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. Into this conversation, I just did a quick H&R Block versus TaxAct compare and contrast. Let me do a quick recap here. So I give you the overview, the review. I talked about more options, and I close with the verdict. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you another time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.